Wow. Wow. Now I know that we are angry. All those who are around my age and below, aren't we annoyed? Good. And I love the fact that he has fired that annoyance in us. Please let's give him another round of applause. But not only has he done that, seated here is a panel that will further expatiate on what he has said. But before I introduce that panel, let me quickly say that Otuba Olawale Cole, he's a former president of the alumni. He's in the house. Please give me a round of applause. You're welcome, sir. Let me also say that the first vice president, Dr. Chifasi Yusuf, is also in the house. You're welcome, sir. Distinguished ladies and gentlemen, I will soon cede this microphone to Dr. Waheed Olagunju, former MD, Bank of Industry, to moderate the discussions. Please give him a round of applause. He's already seated there. The discussants. Thank you. The Registrar of University of Lagos and Secretary to Council of University of Lagos is in the house, Oladejo Aziz Esquire. Please give him a round of applause. Thank you. The discussant, distinguished ladies and gentlemen, she's a senior special assistant to the President on Sustainable Development Goals, which we have heard. Not only that, she's a former Deputy Governor, Lagos State. Please welcome with me. She's already seated, Dr. Adejoke Orelope-Adefulire. Thank you. When I open the papers, I wonder the kind of blood that runs in this man with the way he writes. Finally, I met him today. He's the Chief Executive Officer, Financial Derivatives Company Limited, and is a member of the Economic Advisory Council, Mr. Bismarck Rewani. It will have been Dr. Mrs. Ndidi Nnoli Edozian, but she's unavoidably absent, but she has sent to represent her, Mrs. Bekeme Masade Olowola. She's the Chief Executive, CSR in Action, Board Member, Global Reporting Initiative. Please give her a round of applause. And they will discuss this topic in details. I'm going to hand over to Dr. Waheed Olagunju. Please give me a round of applause.
Thank you very much, Madam. Once again, can we please give Dr. Yemkela another round of applause? He has not disappointed the alumni of the University of Lagos. He was imported to come here and inspire young Nigerians. That was why he agreed to change his schedule to come to the University of Lagos. So I hope you will not disappoint him when he's 80 years old or 90 years old and he will be reading good things about Nigeria. It will be that it was when he came to the University of Lagos during our golden anniversary that he inspired you, and you are beginning to do great things. Well, from all indications, government alone cannot develop any society. There are facilitators of development, but governments have important roles to play at the national and sub-national level. For instance, setting up the enabling environment, coming up with appropriate legislation and incentives that would motivate the private sector. The private sector are also active players in the development process, as well as community-based organizations, non-governmental organizations, and indeed our international development partners. That informed the panel that we decided to constitute. Mrs. Adefulire cuts across national and subnational. Having been Deputy Governor of Lagos State, so she operated at subnational level. Now, she's Senior Special Assistant to the President on the SDGs. She's now operating at the national level. So she'll be speaking from the government perspective. The private sector has an important role to play. That's why Bismarck Rewane is here. He started as a banker, but is now one of Nigeria's foremost economists. And of course, that's why he's a member of the President's Economic Advisory Council. And of course, our social entrepreneur is also here to let us know what the private sector can do, NGOs can do, and community-based organizations. And Dr. Yimkela will also from time to time respond to issues. But it's only fair that we start with our Excellency, Madam Orelope-Adefulire. It's your responsibility. Do you have a microphone with you? If you don't, I'll give you this microphone so you can start off.
Thank you so much. Very distinguished personalities, my dear brothers and sisters, and of course, the great Akokites. The great Akokites. The greatest and the greatest Akokites. Greatest Bobo. Greatest Gbagba. I'm sure at the end of this discussion, we will prove that the University of Lagos is the father of all university. Because we are being challenged to take responsibilities. The responsibility today, when our brother, because he said he was here in 2003, by the time he comes again, we will see a lot of difference through you, and because government is about you. Let me also congratulate the alumni for the 58th anniversary. Long live University of Lagos. The topic that we have been discussed, we all know that the successor of Millennium Development Goals is the SDG, which is Sustainable Development Goals. The member states were asked and were commissioned to drive Millennium Development Goal for 15 years from year 2000 to 2015. And because none of the member states achieved SDGs, both developed and developing countries, was why what informed the conceptualization of the SDGs that has 17 goals, 169 indicators, and between 232 and 2044 indicators. It's a very big and very ambitious goal to be driven by government, the private sector, academia, civil society, donor partners, and everybody, women organization, youth organization, subnational government, and all of us. Everybody, individually and collectively, we have a role to play. To join hands with the government to ensure that we build a world and a future that will sustain us. Having listened to the lead presenter, I know quite sure that in 2015, when the leaders met again at the United Nations General Assembly, 25th of September 2015, to review and adopt the SDGs, they were in the heart of SDG was the private sector. Because under the MDG, there was no discussion about private sector, it was just mentioned. And the world believed that with private sector, with the expertise, with the resource mobilization, with their tenacity, they can help the public sector working together to achieve SDGs. And on that note, we started early as a government by my appointment and my office. And of course, within a quarter of the year, that is 2016 March, the institutional network, framework, action plans are set up. We set up the institutional framework and action plan on how to drive SDG in Nigeria. Along the line, 6 months after, we worked by setting up the private sector advisory group on SDGs. The donor partnership forum was set up. The presidential council on SDG was set up same year in 2016. All of these sectoral institutions were set up to work with the private, to work with the public sector to see how we can work together in terms of mobilization of resources, mapping of SDGs, on the prioritized goals. Because we, member states, were allowed to prioritize SDG according to their priorities. So it does not compulsory. It does not compulsion as to do 17 goals. If 10 goals is your priorities, set a goal for 10 goals so that we can work on that. And the fact that one goal has relationship with another goal, say for example, goal 1, that is no poverty, and goal 2, no hunger. I'm sure that if you don't have poverty, you will not be hungry. So there is correlation between a goal, one goal and the other. And if you don't have poverty, definitely you have good health, which is goal 3. And of course, if you don't have poverty themselves, you will send your children to school, which is good 4. So they have correlation to each other, but they then made it ambitious so that the goals can be achieved and can be taken more seriously for the member states to achieve. We put all this structure in place, and we believe that academia too, which is what we are talking about here, has a role to play. I believe that with all these sectoral policies of government that were put in place, we are also working on the subnational government, because it's not a thing that the government of Lagos will say, oh, I'm going to do my own. Governor Ogun will have another one. There must be integration of SDG into policy, plan, and program of every government, both at the national, at the MDS level, then at the subnational level, even to the local government. Because after all, at the state level, that's where we have problems. In Lagos State, we have people, there is a policy level at the federal. We don't have people at the federal, because even the FCT, which is Federal Capital Territory, they have municipal government. So all those subnational governments are to mainstream the SDG into their plans, policies, programs, so that all of us together as a company, working with the private sector, we will achieve SDGs. And I can say that these policies have been institutionalized, and the governments are now knowing, with the last discussion we have at the General Assembly, that they are ready to integrate, to domesticate, to customize SDG into their plans. So that we have been doing some same thing at the different level of government, and that is the only way we can quickly achieve SDG in Nigeria. For example, what is going on, integration also part of it. Southwest integrate together, and other geopolitical zones working together and ensure that everything is doing together to take our people out of poverty, to liberate them from ignorance, and of course, to ensure that policy of education is also aligned to be able to get all our children out of school, back in school. The government is to make the policy, and you listen to the Minister for Education, the policy that they adopted to be mainstream to the state government at the subnational level to get all the children back in school. I agree also with the presenter that, of course, we need the young people to be very innovative. Innovation and technology research and development is very key in what we are talking about. We have here, for example, engineering course, electrical engineering, civil engineering, structural engineering, and all of that. We have to come with something unique so that we can work together with government. Government alone is not sustainable development. All of us, individually, we can form a group, a cluster, who can develop and innovate something that government can invest in to promote for Nigeria, for Nigerian people. So we have to come together to know that it is for our own benefit. It is for the people of Nigeria, for all of us to be prosperous, to be sustained. And of course, it is very important for us to also know that the SDG that we are talking about has come in 17 goals with 3 dimensions: social development, economic development, climate change, and partnership, which is the private sector. And it's for the people of Nigeria, it's for the peace of Nigeria, it's for the prosperity of Nigeria, it's for partnership, and for the planet at large. So, as we speak now, Nigeria has developed an ISDG model for the integration of the subnational government that will drive the SDG. It was launched at the General Assembly about a month ago and I think that Nigeria is the first country to develop that stimulator. That stimulation is for Nigerian government and for the subnational government up to the local government. And as we launch the model, we have many African countries that has approached us to study the model and adopt the model from us. So as we go forward, we need support of everybody: the students, the academia, the lecturers too must come up with innovative way to support our young people. They need to support our young people to be innovative and to be creative. And if there is need for us to have the Research and Development Fund launched for us to be creative and be more innovative in thinking, I think that will help Nigeria. I thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Madam. Bismarck, could we please have your general reactions and comments on Dr. Yumkela's presentation before we come to specific areas? Thank you.
Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. Happy to be here in the audience of Lagos University, one of the greatest universities of our time. I didn't have the fortune of attending the University of Lagos, but I went to another school not far away from here, Ibadan. So, but the beauty is that the young shall grow. So we've accepted the fact that University of Lagos has now matured. Okay. Apologies. Okay. Professor Kande Yumkela has told us what we already know, and he has emphasized what we know. He has also reiterated what we know, but what you know is different from what you believe in. And like they said, the ears are for listening, the brain is for understanding, and the mind is for implementing. So what we face today is well documented. And the truth is that there is a definition for those who do the same thing and expect different results. There are institutions for such people. So when you have a situation where we've been talking about this same thing from 1960 to 65, 66, Civil War, post-Civil War, military government, post-military government, offsprings of the military government, civilian government, pseudo-civilian government, pseudo-democracy, and we come up with the same results. We end up with the same results, then something is wrong. It was Einstein who clearly said that if you continue doing the same thing and expect a different result, there are institutions for such people. Now, we have a situation where, critically, there is an excess supply of intellectual dishonesty in Nigeria. So I listened to the prof, and he kept on emphasizing the same things, which we all know. They've been documented. The problems of Nigeria are well documented. The question is, why is it that we keep on doing the same thing and expect a different result? Why is it that in spite of all that we have done, we seem to be walking our way down the ladder of success? So, that if you watch an old movie in those days called